today we have a very special guest. We got Austin Medlin in the house. He is a high ticket sales guru, coach, all around good guy. He is the founder and owner of closedsales.com. And he's going to give us some information today on being a real coach. And I say real because we're going to get into that and talking about closing high ticket sales so you can go and change that life. I saw one girl, and we're going to get a lot deeper into it. Like I said, you brought her from $2,000 to $3,000 a month. She was living in Fort Lauderdale to $20,000 to $30,000 a month. She did a testimonial with you. So welcome, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was Katie you were talking about. She was a fantastic client.
Obviously, I do a deep dive into my guests. And one thing I liked about your content is the testimonials, and not just like Susie Smith said, Austin's a great guy, and you put it on your website. Like you actually did interviews with your clients talking about the process and, you know, what you provided them and what they got out of it. So before we go into that, tell me what got you into high ticket sales. And for the audience that doesn't know, what is high ticket sales?
Long story short, been an entrepreneur my entire life, right? And I just never had the right vehicle, but I always had the right ambition. I'm willing to work 24 hours a day. I'm willing to not sleep. I'm willing to forego friendships. Like I'm willing to just go all in on business and work. I don't mind that. I actually enjoy it and I find a ton of fulfillment from doing it. Problem was I never had a vehicle that aligned with my passion and my dreams and my skill set and what I was willing to do to get to where I wanted to go. And I was running a landscape company here in Tampa, took it over from my dad. We scaled it up to about $3 million a year. Wasn't happy. There's 32 employees, 10 trucks, 600 clients. It's hot. We're in Florida. It just wasn't it.
And I want to stop you right there. And I've looked at those things and trades I think are absolutely wonderful. But the biggest challenge, and you may agree with, is the human capital perspective. 32 employees, running all those people, you go there, they didn't show up. It's hard. It's hard.
Very, very difficult. And obviously, I'm not saying employees are a bad thing or you shouldn't have them. It was
great.
just the people I was dealing with, like, we're not talking about college educated people who are like, understand, like, if I get a job, I should probably show up to work the next day and not just no call, no show, right? And I was also young and I was like, I can't travel. I'm stressed. And what really put it on display was my ex at the time won us with her network marketing company a trip to Mexico.
Okay.
And so we're in Mexico and all these people are making all this money, hundreds of thousands, some of the millions of dollars a year. And they're so happy. They're sitting on the beach, they're drinking margaritas, not a care in the world. And I'm on FaceTime with my head foreman, and I'm like, no, the palm tree doesn't go there. Move it to the right, twist it a little bit. And I'm like laying out plants on a FaceTime.
Like, what am I doing?
Exactly. And it just hit me. I flew home Sunday. I quit Monday. Didn't even give my dad 2 weeks. Still feel kind of bad about that. I was like, I can't do this for another day. I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Did you buy him something cool these days? Did you make up for it?
I've made up for it.
There you go. Okay. Then,
many of times.
I'm sure, I was going to say, I'm sure he's forgiven you by now. So.
Yeah, I've made it up to him many of times over.
Cool.
So my ex at the time was an online fitness coach, and she's like, what if we started a business coaching program? You understand business, I understand coaching, and we did that. So we did. We made $111,000 in 60 days just from promoting it on her social media.
No way.
We realized
How long ago was that?
That was in 2019.
Okay.
So pre-COVID.
So 6 years ago. Oh, so you were cool before, you were pre-COVID cool.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Before the online space blew
I'm going to
up.
get canceled. We're 5 minutes into this.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we did that. We realized very quickly we should just be partners, not business partners. And then she had the idea. She's like, hey, why don't you do high ticket sales? And I was like, boats, cars, houses, like what is a high ticket sale? And she's like, no, there's all these other coaches just like us, but they're way bigger and they have sales teams and they will book calls on your calendar. You just have to show up and close them. And so I reached out to our mentor at the time. His name was Yaya.
Ty Lopez, Wes Watson. And those are probably the most controversial figures, but I get the high ticket.
Yes.
So,
but no, I reached out to my mentor who was an online coach who was kind of teaching us the business side of things for the business coaching that we launched. And he was like, oh, I have a plug. I'll put you in touch. All they do is staff high ticket closers all day long. So they introduced me to this guy, Mike Mark. Mike Mark's like, yeah, man, we'll do an interview. And then he plugged me in and just started getting me opportunities. And then the first company that I pretty much worked for, there was one small stint that didn't work out because they weren't at scale. But then the next company I worked for, they were already at $300,000 a month, teaching marketing and YouTube ads specifically to business owners and entrepreneurs. And then we scaled that company from $300,000 a month to $1.7 million a month in the next 2.5 years.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm in the car accident space where obviously, and legal services space, we'll call it, where, we get a third of everything we touch. And we're very, very fortunate. We do a great service. But, I had to go through 7 years of school and, definitely cut my teeth to hear young people going out there and just absolutely crushing it. I'm like, man,
I started making no less than 20 grand a month after my third month of ever even being in the space. Do I have a college degree? Yes. Do I need a college degree to do what I do? Absolutely
we'll get
not.
to that. We'll
Yeah,
get to that.
absolutely not. But in 3 months from knowing nothing about this space or industry, I'd never been a high ticket closer before. I never made less than 20 grand a month. And that's not, there's no overhead. I have no employees. I'm not paying for anything out of pocket. Like that's net in my pocket pre tax.
You said these days you have basically 1.5 employees.
Yeah, pretty
Ish,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is amazing, and you're living this life that you wanted to live. So, we're gonna switch into you were in high ticket sales, and then you basically got involved in coaching. I guess not long after that.
So I did the high ticket game for almost 4 years.
Okay, so you earned your stripes.
It was three companies, right? So I
Okay,
went from the YouTube ads to another guy that was teaching recruiters how to start their own recruiting companies, and then another chick who was teaching LinkedIn and email marketing
okay.
to career coaches specifically. And I was a pivotal piece in all three of those companies, scaling to seven and multiple seven figures. And then I realized I was at the mercy of the business owner. In November of 2023, I was like, dude, like I could just do this for myself and be in control and make more money and have more freedom and most importantly, help more people. So November of 2023, I left, started closesales.com, doing the exact same thing, except instead of me just taking the sales calls, now I'm teaching other business owners how to take the sales calls.
So, do you think and I may not put this correctly, but I guess a sale is a sale is a sale, meaning, if you have the skill set, you can sell ice to Eskimos, you can sell a boat, you can sell a car, you can do, is it, it seems like it's just, you have those, it's twofold. Basically, you have those skill sets as far as sales go, and then you have an information, about the product that you're selling, and then you marry those two together. But I guess the only missing really kind of taking you from here to an extreme level is the passion for the product that you're selling, I would imagine.
If you don't enjoy or believe in what you're selling, no matter how good you are, you won't be able to
Yeah.
sell it, or you're just sleazy,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But I mean, sales is sales, psychology is psychology. Once you understand that and how humans make buying decisions,
The rest is I guess history. How did you feel confident enough to go into coaching? Like what was that kind of was it an epiphany is I have the skill set to do it, or was it more of, hey, I need to, take this leap and let's see what happens?
after I took 7,000 one-to-one high ticket sales calls with people all over the world, rich people, poor people, old people, young people, tall people, and short people, like from every socioeconomic background from multiple countries all over the world. And I was closing all of them. I realized I had something. And like, for example, the first company I worked at, I was outpacing everybody's numbers and I only work 4 days a week. I'm like Chick-fil-A. I don't have to be open every day.
Fair
So
enough.
they're working 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, grinding it out. And I'm working 4 days, doubling, sometimes tripling their
I've
numbers.
been doing that too. I want to take a little, I do these little detours because I like to capitalize on the information. So I'm available 24/7. I just want to put that out there for any clients watching. But I have been just putting in like 10 to 12 hour days, Monday through Thursday, and then kind of, got my phone on checking emails and stuff like that, but putting in a little bit different effort on Fridays because I market on Saturdays and Sundays too. I'm going to car shows, I'm going to events, so technically I'm 7 days and then obviously always have my phone. But it's been so much better for my mental health to kind of have that little, Friday I can kick off and hey, let's go do this or take the kids out, pick up my son from school, all those fun little things. So,
That's how you recharge the batteries.
yeah, I mean, and I was super against that too. I'm like, I was the Hermosi kind of like, gotta work 6, 7 days a week. You got 12 hours a day. You gotta grind and stuff like that. And I got to the point where it's like, Dan Martell, which I fanboy out on. He said rather than work life balance, it's work life integration. Now, a Friday night, I got to go and, work for 3 hours, while the kids are sleeping and, or go to an event or do this or that. I do it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Take a client call or sign a new client or whatever. But I think a 4-day work week, I know we've talked about that as a society, on and off for many, many years. I hope that comes into volition because I think it is very helpful.
I mean, people ask me all the time, how do you work 16, 18, 19 hours a day and not burn out? Because I only do that for 4 days in a row.
Correct. And I think examining it like that, I think you honestly get more out of it. How many people, get halfway through a project and it's like, "Oh, all right, I'm at my 8 hours. Like, see you
Correct.
tomorrow." And it's like,
And then they kill their momentum.
correct. And I've noticed I'm like, "Hey, I'm just gonna stay till 8 o'clock tonight," in the office, call the wife, obviously, send some Uber Eats, maybe some flour. Love you, baby. And but I'm gonna stay till 8 o'clock. I'm gonna get this project done. And on top of that, my next day starts better and I don't sleep like crap that night
Yep.
because I'm horrible at putting projects out of my mind. You know what I mean? I get that racing brain.
I'm the
So,
same way.
or I end up at the office at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, grinding it out so I can get that project done and work my normal day.
But here's the difference, right? When you go home to the wife and kids, after completing everything and now your brain is empty of work, you can be far more intentional with spending like
100%.
genuine quality time with your
100%.
family. Where I'm the kind of person, like, if we set up a dinner, but I have a bunch of work stuff on my mind, I would rather cancel the dinner than show up, but mentally I haven't shown up. And then you'll be like, why are you so disconnected or you seem distracted? That's because I am. That's
Yeah.
because I'm in the middle of a huge project
Yeah.
that I'd much rather be finishing to get it out of my brain than sitting here at dinner that we could have rescheduled and done another day.
100%. And, I think I've gotten even away from, dinners as well as like I love, brunches and things like that because I feel like dinners just drag out. And I love my friends and colleagues and things like that, but it's like it's never just dinner. You know what I mean? And then I feel like such a jerk. I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do that
But
after
you shouldn't
this."
feel like a
But
jerk for having high standards. It's
yeah.
the same thing with me. I had to stop playing golf
Oh,
because
really?
it's
Okay.
like, dude, like, and I'm not saying golf's a bad thing. I
Yeah.
really enjoy golf. It's just like, it's a 6 to 7 hour ordeal. By the time you get dressed,
Yeah.
drive there, warm up, like, it's too long.
Yeah.
And it's like on a Saturday afternoon, I could have gotten an ungodly amount of work done, which genuinely fills my cup and makes me happy. Sitting in my office working on something, than like being in the sun, hanging out with the boys, and then I'm like exhausted, then I need a nap. It's like it's a full day event, and it's just like I had to stop.
I'm the same way, and it was for me. It was the gym as well. As far as it's that necessary evil, which I know you talked about a little bit in your content as well. I went and the gym just got too long. It's an hour and a half ordeal, and I'm screwing off, and I'm checking my phone and this and that. So I ended up hiring a trainer who became a very good buddy, and it's like I'm in there for an hour, and I'm there to get work done. Like so those there's a time and a place for fun. You know what I mean? So do you think, and we have to touch on this because, it's kind of like the CrossFit of politics, Um, if you don't mention it, you're not doing it. Do you think that AI is an immediate threat to sales and coaching?
To sales and coaching, I would say no.
Okay.
Now,
Well, why do you say that?
keep in mind, I'm very uneducated on
Okay.
AI, and I think that every day that goes by, AI develops more rapidly.
Don't you love that if you ask anybody about AI, it's like they either know nothing or they know everything. It's like
Correct.
they're either the founder of NVIDIA or like they're me and you, where you're just like, so what? It tells you what to do. ChatGPT, what?
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Sales is human to human connection and interaction. And there's all these AI bots now where you can like role play your sales calls and stuff like that. But there's like a delay where it has to like process the information you're giving it. So do I think AI could get good enough in the future to handle sales conversations? Yes. Do I think humans will want to buy from robots when making a 5, 10, or $50,000 decision? Probably not, because I don't think AI is going to have the compassion and empathy that humans do. And I also don't know if AI will advance far enough to be able to look at a prospect and say, don't do this.
Hmm.
And that's what makes a good salesperson is when they're honest and ethical and moral. And they can look at a prospect knowing they could close them, but knowing they shouldn't, and saying, don't buy this. You need to go do this other thing instead, then come back to us. I mean, do I think it could potentially get that good eventually? I guess. I've integrated one very small piece of AI into my coaching. I think there's just something authentic about me actually sitting in the chair, taking 7,000 calls, coaching hundreds of people for 60% of a decade, that if I try to download all that and put it into AI, it kind of loses that. But I mean, I'm also a laggard, right? I always adopt slowly, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if I can work 4 days a week, make a couple $100,000 a month, run at 60 to 70% profit margins, love my clients, love my life, even if I AI'd my whole business, what the hell do I do all day?
I think that's a huge point, and I think even the bigger point that you hit on, and we talk about in the legal community as well, is like, is there, are we going to be obsolete? Are we going to be this? Are we going to be that? Number one is if there's a mistake, maybe a malpractice mistake, who do you blame? The AI? Like, oh, they did it. That's number one. So I think it'll be a very long time before lawyers are replaced. Number two is people still want to talk to when they have a significant legal matter, or like you said, they're spending a significant amount of money. They want to talk to a person. They don't want to talk to a machine. So I think AI is helpful, but I think we're 5 to 10 plus years away from significant integration, even though everybody says it's coming, it's coming. I think it's coming. I'm not saying it's not, but I think we also thought electric cars were going to take over as well. And then here we are.
Yeah. As I pull up in my McLaren with
Yeah.
downpipes in a tune that's obnoxiously
Yeah.
loud, like I'm not going to an electric car ever.
I won't either. Yeah. I
But
mean,
I think AI has already consumed certain spaces. Like
of
I
course.
think graphic designers' jobs are probably at risk when you can punch in a couple things and then AI can build you a thumbnail or graphic or
Mhm.
whatever you want. Like I do think there's lower skilled jobs that are already at risk or being consumed by AI. Sales is the highest paid skill set on planet Earth. Could AI replace it? I guess maybe potentially anything could happen, but I think that it's the more highly specialized and highly skilled your job title is, I think the longer it's going to take for AI to really start to make an impact.
Correct. I agree. I think, and the other thing that I think it is really threatening is publishing. As far as books, I mean, you can now be like, write me a chapter about success in blah blah blah, and it just it's pretty crazy. Obviously, you invested a lot in your business. You've talked about in your content spending, 200,000, probably significantly more than that now, getting coached yourself and learning and educating yourself. When did you start figuring that you could start enjoying things and buying maybe a dream home or buying the McLaren? When did that start happening?
I've always tried to enjoy life. In college, I was dating a girl, it was the first girl I ever loved, and we were together for a year and a half, and she got hit and killed by a car.
Oh my gosh.
And I think in that moment, I realized that life is short.
Yeah.
And I always was the egotistical, oh, I'm invincible, like I'm young, live it up. But I think in that moment, there was like a paradigm shift where I was like, man, on display, life is fragile. And so, do I want to work hard? Yes. But I think everybody dies twice. Once when your physical body leaves this world, once when people stop saying your name. And so, when I die, what do I want to be remembered for? I could die on the way home today, or it could be in 10 years or 50 years from now. I have no idea. And that's the thing. We never know. We just think and hope that it's in the future, but like we don't really know. So if I were to die today, what do I want to be remembered for? Is it like, oh man, he was such a hard worker? Or is it like, man, that guy lived life to the fullest. He maxed it out. He served his clients. He had a big heart. He cared about people. Like, how do I want to be remembered? Right. And so I've always tried to live my life. When I was a sales rep, that was the first time I started making money. It was like 2019 going into 2020. So I started making a little bit of money. So I had a little bit more fun. I could, do more things and more trips or better dinners or whatever it was. Now I'm at the point where I've optimized the business and I've optimized my life for convenience with as minimal headaches and inconveniences as humanly possible. Like my personal assistant cooks and cleans and takes care of the house and does pretty much everything. Like, hey, can you renew my passport? Hey, can you update the jet ski registration? Like, whatever it is, that's all optimized and taken care of. And then my business assistant takes care of everything in the business, onboarding new clients, sending contracts, running credit cards, whatever it may be. So I just get to focus on the things that I enjoy, which is selling new clients and serving existing clients and then thinking creatively to scale the business. Like that's what I enjoy. So that's fun. You said, how do you enjoy your life? Well, that's one of them. And then I also have optimized everything where I have enough money and enough time where I can do other fulfilling, fun things, whether it's jet skiing or boating, hanging out with friends, doing a snowboard trip, whatever it is. But I'd say in 2019, 2020 is when I could actually kind of enjoy. And then when I launched my own company, scaled it up, when we first did like the first $100,000 month, I was like, okay, this is good. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a wife, I don't have
Life's
kids.
different. Yeah.
Like I could eat at any restaurant I want to eat at. I don't have to look at the price of anything on the menu. I could buy pretty much whatever I want to buy. I could just kind of no headache, right? I think Joe Rogan said, he's like, my favorite thing about money is having enough of it to where you don't have to think about it. I can go to a restaurant or the mall or whatever, and it doesn't matter. I don't have, oh, wow, that's a $300 Wagyu filet. If I want it, I can get it. And I think that peace of mind is really, really powerful.
I agree with what you're saying completely. That was step one for me is being once I started having success, it's like I could, do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. Now it's kind of split into this twofold where it's like, how can I get the maximum fulfillment for the least amount of either effort or, monetary expense? And then my second thing is, how can I get creative to build my nest egg in order to sustain this lifestyle for as long as possible? So that's where, with the wife and I have talked about, hey, maybe we should look at, what 2026 looks like. What is our expenses? Where can we, not because we need to cut or anything like that. It's more so, how do we get, how are we optimizing our life to get the maximum out of it? And
You know what we call that?
what?
Maturity.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And
like, yeah.
people aren't thinking about the future, right? And that's why I think my industry of coaching gets a really bad name,
Mm-hmm.
because there's all these young kids that they're making money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe 100 grand a month,
A
500
lot.
grand a
Yeah.
month, a million a month, whatever. I know a lot of them
Boom.
personally.
$15,000 a month condo in Miami. It's like,
Yeah, and it's
what?
like you're renting a penthouse and renting a car and renting all these things, and it's difficult, right? Because we talk about life is short. So if they were to die tomorrow, they lived it to the max, but there also is a balance of hedging your bets for the future. And I teach this to all my clients. I'm like, look, you just had a record breaking month. Maybe it's 30 grand, maybe it's 300 grand. I don't really care. That doesn't mean next month we will also break a record. In stack cash. Put cash away. If you want to put it here, there,
Yes.
wherever. I'm not a
Yes.
financial advisor, but save the money, hoard the cash, invest it into yourself and into your business. But you should have this nest egg where if business went to shit, you can survive for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and not just survive, but you could travel, you could eat at the restaurants, you can maintain your lifestyle that
Maintain
you're
the
living today
appearance. Yeah.
for years. And that's what I did. I was like, I'm still going to have fun, but I always need to pull money out. Every Monday, I put money into a high interest savings account. Every single Monday. Did it this morning, 5:30 a.m.
Yep.
Right. So it's like I want to stack cash to have a nest egg to where I call it insulation, right? I'm insulated. My business could get shut down tomorrow. I could live for another 2 years, probably buy another supercar and just keep living my life, which allows me to then make better decisions for what my next move is going to be. If you have no money and no cash and you get fired from your job or your company goes under, what do you do? You're kind of just shit out of luck. And then you have to, out of desperation and scarcity, go take the first job or the first opportunity, even if you don't enjoy it. It's just not that fun. It's not exciting.
And I want to disclaim this before we get into it. I know there's some people struggling out there. I know there's some people having difficulties and things like that. So we're not talking negatively about money or your situation. I'm a lawyer. I have to put this out there. I'm going to get 9,000. You don't know what it's like. I understand there's some people struggling out there, and that's why we're having conversations like this. So hopefully you can put yourself in the best position and do better for yourself and your family. And I agree with that completely. For me, my next, and I'll put it out there, my next goal is for my investments to make me $25,000 a month without touching my nest egg.
Yep.
I want a $25,000 because I know that I can live and I know a lot of people, 25,000 a month, that's crazy or whatever. I'm not talking about your financial situation. I'm talking about my own. I know that I can live a fantastic, incredible life for $25,000 a month, setting that as a floor. And that's where I'm trying to put my own investments, where it's like, I don't touch anything. I don't touch the nest egg. And I got that residual income just coming and coming no matter what happens.
Yep.
And I think that's what, with the maturity, obviously we did, crazy thing when we were, in our 20s and, clubs and the Vegas and the, dinners and the, balling out. But at the end of the day, you do got to smarten up, and the quicker that you smarten up is the better life you're going to live moving down the road.
Yeah. And, I also come from a place of like, I grew up, I'd say middle class. Wasn't crazy rich, definitely was not on the lower end of the spectrum. I'd say it's like middle of the road, right? Well, today, I make more than everyone in my family.
Mm-hmm.
Not combined, but everyone in my family, I make more than. But to get there, there was a period where when I was 18, I left the house and I was on my own. Well, today I'm 31, so that's a 13-year gap.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in the middle of that gap, I was 50 grand in debt. I was
Mhm.
35 pounds overweight. I was absolutely miserable and mentally down bad and just not the human that I am today. So when people like look at me today, they're like, "Oh, well, it's easy because you have money." I was broke as shit. I was 50 grand in debt. I had so much anxiety not knowing what I was going to do with my life. There was a period where when I quit the landscape company, there's like a 6-month period where I was unemployed, racking up debt just to survive and live. And I had so much ambition and no idea where to channel it and put it. I just knew it wasn't landscape. And I remember driving to the gym one day and just breaking down, having a panic attack in the gym parking lot with no idea what I was supposed to do. And I'm like, I will work 24 hours in a day. I don't care. I just don't know what to do. And then that's when I found the online space and online coaching and the high ticket space. That's when everything changed. And what I tell people, if I was in that gym parking lot and I knew that I was 3 months, 4 months, 5 months away from my life radically changing, I wouldn't have anxiety about it or be sad about it. I would just be like, great, I'm 5 months out from having a radically different life. Let's just enjoy the day I have now. So I think people are a lot closer than they think they are, but they build this insurmountable challenge in their brain of like, well, here's where I am. How could I ever get to here? It's like you could be one book away, one mentor away, one mindset shift away. There could just be one random conversation with a random person that finally just clicks and you radically change the trajectory of your life. A lot of people just think it's impossible, or they look at people who are successful in their eyes and they're like, oh, they got lucky or they got this. And they just make up excuses as to why they could never do it. So guess what happens? They never do.
Yeah. Oh no. And a couple of things with that. So I was got my license in April of 2017. Between April of 2017 and December of 2017, long before any Lamborghinis or, and Porsches or anything like that, I made a whopping $12,000 that year. We were living in my wife's uncle's house. She wasn't even my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. We were living in her uncle's house and she was working and we were doing everything we could. And I knew that I had to keep my nose to the grindstone. And Bill Ackman, I think, says it best when he lost billions of dollars on an investment. He's going through a divorce. It's one of the hardest times in his life. And he said, I knew to get through it that I just needed to keep making forward progress every day.
Yep.
And it's just one foot in front of the other. You just you can't give up and you can't let those kind of demons take over, and those negative thoughts. But with what you're saying, I want to capitalize even more on the here to here. The problem I think people have is they want to go from zero to $100,000 a month.
Correct.
Go from zero to $3,000 a month.
Yes.
And then go from 3,000 to 5,000, and then go from 5,000 to 10,000, and then 5,000 to, or excuse me, 10 to 20 and, 30 and so on and so forth.
I think that's a new mindset.
Yeah. I mean,
because social media has
it's so crazy.
perpetuated the fact.
You got to make 100 a month.
If you don't make 100 grand a month, you're poor on social media.
Yeah.
Which is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like it's just simply not true.
Yeah.
When I was making $20,000 a month, dude, I could do whatever I wanted. Again, didn't have kids, but I could quite literally do whatever I wanted at
100%.
$20,000 a month. So to see these kids on social media, like, if you don't make 100 grand a month, you're poor. It's like, time out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Like, if you make 100 grand a month in the US, unless you're over leveraging your spending.
Well, 1% is 374 a year.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
28 grand a month.
And now they're telling kids that are 18, 19 that they're
more
poor
than
if
that.
they don't make it.
32, but yeah.
It's
close
social media.
Yeah.
It's social media has perpetuated that, which I think is a good and a bad thing, right? If people use it for motivation to work hard and build legitimate companies with actual intrinsic value, amazing. I love that. But I also think there's the other side of the coin where people are like just gambling on crypto or like, what is the fastest path for me to get rich? And they're willing to step on people's heads to do it. Then it becomes unethical. Then it becomes like, guys, like, we're not building anything with real value here, like real enterprise value. We're just trying to rug pull meme coins to like get rich. It's like, okay, like we probably need to tighten it up a little bit. But it's just, it is what it is. It's the way the world has progressed.
Well, it's that
with social media.
desperation. It's that desperation to keep the ball, moving down the road. And, I think people, until they get that wake up call of just like a significant loss, then they just don't have that. If they go from 100,000 one month to 20,000 the next month, it's like the light bulb doesn't go on. But really, with a lot of these gurus, I'm like, okay, made $100,000 a month, super cool. How much did you save?
Correct.
Because it's like 37% is going straight to the IRS if you live in Florida. So now you're down to 60. $15,000, $10,000 a month penthouse, you're down to 50. $15,000, $10,000 on entertainment, which these kids are going way crazier than that. Now you're down to 30. Then, clothing, another 10, then this and this. Dude, you went from 100 to $12,000 in savings.
Yeah. You had a fun month though, I guess, but like
super fun.
But I think there's a balance,
Yeah.
which comes with maturity that most people aren't going to get until they get a little bit older. And that's okay. Everybody learns at their own pace and does their own thing. But I figured it out because I had made over $1 million as a high ticket closer,
Mhm.
had nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Like I had nothing. And then at that time, I was overweight. I was going through a divorce. I was building a house that I couldn't afford. And then I quit my $30 to $40,000 a month consulting job to start my own company in November of 2023. So I just looked at, I was like, you know what? What's the most amount of shit I can pack into my life right now, which will just force me to grind?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm overweight. Great. I'm going through a divorce. Great. I'm broke. Great. I have this house that's going to be built in the next 6 months. And if I don't have the cash, I lose my deposit. So I just went all in, building the business, working on my health, eating healthy, like just doing all the things at once. That was a lot of fun. That might have been the most fun I've ever had was when I was just locked away in my mom's studio apartment in St. Pete Beach, like tiny little couple 100 square foot apartment, just with nothing else to do but work on every aspect of my life. That built a ton of momentum and was a lot of fun.
For me, I'm not gonna say what bank I'm a part of because I don't trust you fools, but I always take my, money out of my bank accounts, like you were talking about moving the high yield. I move all my money out into my brokerage accounts, and, I look at the account every day and, I only keep, maybe a month's worth of expenses, if that, and I'm like, "Wow, you need to get hustling. You only got a month. Like, you gotta make it you got 30 days to make it happen," and that mental, kind of, thought process or that Olympics is like, "Man, you got 30 days, and then you make money, and then you start all over again."
Mental gymnastics to keep yourself
You
locked.
have to do something because, like, you open the bank account and you're like, "Oh, wow." It's like, whoever you are, you get a little jaded. One of the things I wanna talk about is quite a few times in your content, you say that sales is service. Where did that come from? What does that mean?
I think sales as an industry or a profession has kind of like a bad name. I think people, oh, salespeople are slimy or they're out to get you or they're just trying to take your money. And I was kind of just raised in the middle. We never really had that conversation. But I think there are unethical salespeople, right? There's unethical people in every industry, whether it's attorneys or salespeople or,
Of course.
and so for me, when I got into the world of high ticket sales and I started having a lot of conversations, like 12 to 16 sales calls and conversations a day, it kind of hit me one day. And I was like, these people are on the call because they actually need help. Like these are humans with real businesses and real financial problems and real families. Like this is another human being's life. And they're here because they need help. And if I'm 100% confident that my program, product, service, or whatever I'm selling at that time is the thing that they actually need, it makes me a bad human not to sell it to them. And so it clicked like probably after a month of being in sales, after I heard story after story after story. And after the first month, because I had enrolled some people the first month, going into the second month, they started getting results. They started hitting me back up.
Brad.
Dude, thank you. Like, dude, I know I had objections. I appreciate you holding me accountable. You changed my life. You changed my family's life. I couldn't be doing all these things without you. Now, keep in mind, that was 5, 6 years ago. So now think about the ripple effect of impact that I've had by connecting good people to good programs that they actually need to change the trajectory of their life. When they make more money or they become better humans or they build their business, they don't just do it for themselves. They pass that down to their family and their friends and their colleagues and everyone. So there's hundreds of thousands of people now running around planet Earth who have no idea who I am, but me selling one person has now rippled down to them. And so, like, I have many clients who are fitness coaches. Great, dude, I don't know that much about fitness. Like, I don't know macros and this and that.
I pick things up and I put them down.
Me too.
Some are heavier than others.
I hire a coach to tell me what to pick up and put down
That's
and
what
what
I
to
did
put in
too.
my body.
It's my
right?
favorite part.
So I'm a men's fitness coach. I'm a woman's fitness coach. I have a music coach in my program. Dude, I know nothing about music. I'm the least creative person. So I have hundreds of coaches that I've worked with that teach all different things that I know nothing about. And by helping them get good at sales, they now sell their program to these people, which then enrich the quality of their life and then pass that down to their friends and family and colleagues, et cetera. And it's like, dude, we are just serving people by selling them good products and services. That's the caveat. If you sell a shit programmer, you're a shit coach. Sales is not service. Sales is taking money from people and then not giving them what they're paying for. That is not good. But if you believe in what you're selling, whether it's your own or for somebody else's, it's your duty and obligation to close every single person that is a good fit.
For me, and I agree with you completely, what really changed it for me is asking them more than just, I guess, more than the sale. In my business, we're dealing with injured people. So I can't advocate for them if I don't know what they're going through. It's like, oh, my neck and my back hurts. Okay. Well, yeah, that's definitely something. How has this affected your life? How is this going to change your life? How is this, when you go the extra mile and ask those questions and get that why, I think that has a lot to do with being able to be a better salesperson and being able to live out that mission. So once I, once I humanized the sale, I think I became better as an attorney, a better advocate, and produced better results because it wasn't just, it's not a widget. You're having a profound effect on somebody's life, or if you're just, doing 1,000 sales calls and, to your point, we can transition to that. Your close rate's going to stink. It's going to suck. Tell me how important the close is and some of your closing tips. I know that's kind of a general question, but go into that a little bit because I know you're really big on close rate.
Yeah. When people look at building a business in general, many ways to do it, right? The way that most people, especially in the online coaching world, think, if I just spend more on ads or I just get more opportunities on my calendar, I will scale. Problem with that, if you have a low close rate, putting more calls on your calendar just gives you more headaches to deal with
You're
because
spinning
you're
your
getting
wheels.
objections that you don't know how to handle. So what I realized is if you could double your close rate, you can double your business. And you don't need more ads. You don't need more funnels. You don't need to do more organic or you don't need to do more cold DMs. You don't have to do anything at all. You don't even have to spend one extra minute of your day. Tell me a mechanism or a lever that you can pull where you can double the size of your business without spending more money or spending more time or hiring more people. There's no other mechanism on planet Earth except one, which is doubling your price.
Mhm.
But if your close rate is low, you're not going to have the confidence to double your price. So what I do with my clients, it's a 4X. It's really simple. Step one, double the close rate. That's just getting more effective on the phones, asking better questions, objection handling properly, having more confidence in what you're selling. Then once your close rate's really good, now you're like, dude, I've been undercharging this entire time. Everyone's buying. They're all paying me in full, minimal objections. And if they do come up, I handle them. Step two is we double their price. If you double your close rate and double your price, you just 4X your business again without any more money, without any more marketing, without spending an extra minute of a day because you were already on the phones taking sales calls anyway. You're just now highly effective and charging what you're actually worth. We just 4X your company.
I agree. I agree. And even more so on top of that, once you do land that client, giving them the best service possible.
Well, they will give
So
themselves the best service possible because when they pay more money, they pay more attention.
correct.
When anyone in a business, any business is struggling with their clients actually following the program or getting results, they're probably undercharging.
Mhm.
The more it hurts financially, the more seriously they take the program. The more seriously they take the program, the better results they get, the better testimonial, the better case study, and the more referrals you get. It's a win-win-win for everyone. When you undercharge, the opposite happens. It doesn't hurt financially, so they don't really take it that seriously. And then someone will ask them, hey, how'd that program go? It was all right. No, the program was badass. You didn't apply yourself because you didn't pay enough for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay attention a lot more to a $5,000 program than a $500 program.
I take care of my McLaren a hell of a lot more than I take care of my truck.
I agree. I do like my 4Runner though. I do like my
I
4Runner.
like my truck too,
I do.
but I'm not getting it washed every week.
No,
Vacuuming out the
It's
inside.
it's very dirty.
The
Yeah.
starter's starting to go out. I'm not really motivated to go fix it. I just don't care that much. It's 2012.
I you know, I never I always thought that was gonna, and my business is fixed, so my business outside of it. I always thought that was a very scary thing to charge more money because it's like, well, you wanna bring people in the door, but it's like, you wanna bring one person in the door for $5,000 a month and work 2 hours on, I'm just throwing out example, 2 hours on that, so your hourly rate's 2,500, or you wanna spend 20 hours bringing in, 20 people and your hourly rate's $250.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I get exactly what you're saying as far as, raising your price. Obviously, you got to get better at the close, but raising your price in order to, and if a couple people fall out, they probably weren't that serious anyway. So life
Correct.
happens. And you can always go back to lowering your price or you can always find the right fit. It's not a set forever type deal.
Correct. And people don't realize if somebody will pay you 3, they will pay you 55.
Yeah.
If they will pay you 4, they will pay you 8.
Yeah, the cost at that point is so I get people are not as price sensitive as they used to be,
Correct.
as 30, 40 years ago. A dollar compared to $5 is looked at a lot differently, than, it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
When did you switching gears a little bit, when did you feel successful?
I mean, it's a tricky question, right? Because if I sit here and say I feel successful, that could, if not looked after, create complacency. So I'll be careful with my answer. I think when I felt like I had reached the next level, and I think there's always more levels to reach. I think for me, when I felt like, man, like I've achieved a new level, my mom told me, I know you want to buy a supercar. Don't do it until you buy or build a house. And that was her financial advice to me. So I built my house. Shortly after that, maybe I think it was April, 5 months after that, I bought my supercar, which by the way was on a canvas on my wall for 5 years. It wasn't an impulse buy. The same color, make, model, spec, year, everything was on a canvas for 5 years in my office. So like that was the exact one that I wanted. What it was by design, manifested it. It wasn't just a random Monday. I woke up, I was like, let's go splurge some money. But when I was in my house, decked it out the exact way that I wanted. Because I'm single, right? So it was like everything I wanted. I got guns all over the house, got AR-15 up on the wall.
That's
Like
awesome.
I got bubble walls and LED lights. It's exactly what I wanted. And then I had my house and I had my car and I had enough money left over to go do both of those things twice more, again, if I wanted. And I could go to the restaurants I wanted to go to and do what I wanted to do. I would say in the world's eyes, I was successful. I would say in my eyes, I was like, I've reached a new level and I will do everything in my power to protect this level because it feels really good. And all of that was made possible by being good at sales, in closing people, in serving them with ridiculously high amounts of client success, which makes me feel really good. Like, dude, I sleep so good at night knowing the only way I have money is by helping people. Between me and my clients, I stopped counting when we crossed $100 million in cash from sales in the online coaching industry specifically. And I will only work with people that have good programs, good products, good services, which means a shit ton of people have bought programs because of my sales training, which has enriched the quality of their life. So all the things, the material things, the lifestyle that I have is impossible without helping people and helping a lot of them at a big scale.
I had a client I talked to on Friday, and she asked me what she was looking at in her pocket after doctors were paid, attorney's fees and everything, and I told her the number, and she goes on the phone, "Holy shit." And I was like, "Is that a good holy shit?" And she goes, I can't believe what you guys have done for me. Like, you have no idea, like, how hard it's been, and, I can get this." And, she lost wages and things like that. And she said, "You have no idea." And I said to my closeout manager was on the phone as well. And I said to her after we got off the call, I said, "I want as many holy shits for the rest of the year as possible. I
Yep.
want clients to be blown back with the results that we get them." And that's what it's about. All the, and it comes with maturity. I mean, we've said it multiple times, but all the, the McLarens and the Lamborghinis and the houses and all that stuff is amazing. But if you don't have that passion, that, service mentality, that customer service mentality, and, that j just,
Just want to help people,
provider, yeah,
dude. Just want to
helping
help
and
people.
doing right things. I mean, you have to take a step back, and I think you've definitely done that, and it's like, wow, I just brought X from $2,000 to $3,000 a month to $30,000 a month. She is going to be able to, maybe put her kids in private school one day, or, make change on other people in her fitness business and stuff like that. I mean, when you break it down,
Yeah.
it's truly incredible. And don't get so caught up in the weeds where you can't have those thoughts, or you can't have those, I guess, trying to find the right word, but, reflections that you're doing something special. And if you're not having those reflections, you may need to find a different path.
For
So,
sure. Yeah.
the last question that I have for you, this has been absolutely incredible. And again, I can't thank you enough for your time. What advice would you give somebody that's starting in sales other than buy my course? I'm just kidding.
That's good. If they're starting in sales, they have to be in it for the right reasons, which is serving people. I think right now, especially in Tampa, no hate, but there's a lot of people in the insurance space. And I think the ones that really succeed in insurance, whether it's life, health, whatever, they actually give a shit about the people they're selling to and about the program or product that they're putting these people into. And I think those people rise to the top. But I think there's an overwhelming majority of like newer people in like the life and health insurance space who see it as a way to make money, not as a way to help people. And if you don't love what you're selling, it's going to be very hard and very inauthentic to go sell it. And so if you're new in sales, find something that you love. I don't care if it's cars or houses or courses or insurance. I don't care. Find something that you genuinely love that you will die for. Start there. Once you understand what you're selling and you realize you're selling to humans that actually need whatever it is you're selling, go all in. Find a mentor. Could be your upline in your company. It could be a CEO, whoever, right? Find a mentor, pay them whatever they're asking for, and learn from them because that will dramatically collapse the learning curve and get you to where you want to go.
I agree with all of what you said, but especially the last statement about collapsing the learning curve, because I think so many people are afraid they'll make that, they'll make that penthouse payment or they'll make that supercar payment. But when it comes to, education, it's like, well, and you never know the door that that mentor could open or that introduction at that conference or what could come from making that investment in yourself and, taking the next steps and taking everything out of that. So, with that being said,
Thanks
appreciate
for
you.
having me. Thank you.
Absolutely.